What if I told you this video isn't just something you clicked out of boredom, but a moment of ancient synchronicity playing out in real time? No, you didn't stumble here by accident. The pixels you're seeing, the voice you're hearing, the sudden tightening in your chest right now, this is a summons, not a coincidence. For centuries, secret teachings have whispered that nothing in this world is truly random. That reality has structure, rhythm, and an invisible language encoded beneath the surface of every event, thought, and emotion. Most people live their lives brushing against these hidden currents without ever realizing it. But once in a while, something pierces the veil. A dream too vivid, a stranger's sentence that feels like prophecy, a feeling that you're being nudged by the universe itself. And maybe, just maybe, this is that moment for you. Now I know how that sounds. Like esoteric nonsense. You might be thinking, come on, this is just another YouTube video. And you'd be right. If you were looking at this with the same cold, skeptical lens we use for everything these days. But the truth is, indifference is the armor we build when we forget how to be amazed. We scroll past the miraculous with the same glazed look we give to breakfast cereal ads. We've become so numb that we mistake miracles for glitches in the algorithm. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like life was trying to tell you something, but you couldn't quite decode the message? Have you ever felt a pull towards something ancient, something vast, but dismissed it as your imagination? The Hermetic tradition calls that inner pull the fire within. It's what Hermes Trismegistus described when he said, "As above, so below. As within, so without." This isn't just philosophy. This is a map, a blueprint for how the universe works, and how your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional states shape the very fabric of what you experience. And it's all hidden in a small, obscure book written over a century ago by 3 anonymous authors. The Kybalion. Most people have never heard of it. Fewer have read it. And fewer still have understood what it really is. A codebook for reality. A guide for transmuting chaos into clarity. A reminder that you're not just living in the universe. You are shaping it. Right now, your heart may be beating a little faster. You might feel a subtle vibration rising within you, a sense of alertness, curiosity, or even unease. That's not just emotion. That's recognition. Deep down, you already know this truth. You've just forgotten. But that ends here. Because over the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the 7 Hermetic principles that govern every experience in your life, even the ones you thought were random. These principles are not just theories. They are active, dynamic forces. They operate whether you believe in them or not. Just like gravity, you don't have to understand them for them to shape your life. But once you do understand them, everything changes. You'll begin to see patterns where others see coincidence. You'll feel clarity where there used to be confusion. And you'll stop drifting through life and start participating in your own creation. So, if you've ever wondered why your life feels out of sync, if you've felt disconnected as though you're watching your own story instead of living it, then maybe, just maybe, this is your moment to wake up. Let this be your spark. Let this be your rupture in the veil. Because the universe doesn't scream its secrets. It whispers. And right now, it's whispering to you. Let's be honest. You've probably felt it too. That quiet ache in your chest when you wake up and realize nothing really changed overnight. The same doubts. The same weight. The same gnawing sense that something is off. Like life is happening to you, not with you. And deep down, the question keeps circling. Why is it always so hard? You try. You care. You show up. You dream. And still, life hits you harder than it should. People let you down. Plans fall apart. The things you built crumble before your eyes. And you start to wonder, is the universe against me? But what if it's not? What if life isn't punishing you, it's teaching you? The Hermetic tradition offers a radical shift in perspective. It doesn't ask you to suppress your anger or numb your sadness. Instead, it invites you to see pain not as punishment, but as feedback. Not as chaos, but as cause and effect. You see, the second principle of the Kybalion says, nothing happens by chance. Everything happens according to law. That sounds cold, doesn't it? Especially when you're drowning in disappointment or watching someone you love suffer. But hear me out. This law doesn't mean everything that happens is fair. It doesn't mean you deserved the worst parts of your life. It means that nothing is random. That behind the chaos, there's a current, a pattern. And if you can trace that pattern, you can begin to shift it. Here's the hard truth. Much of what we experience in life is the echo of thoughts, beliefs, and emotions we didn't even realize we were broadcasting. It's like planting seeds without knowing what they are, then being shocked when a thorn bush grows instead of roses. Every persistent thought, every emotion you stuff down but still carry, every action you took from fear instead of alignment, all of them are causes. And life simply reflects back the effects. It's a brutal mirror, but also an honest one. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who always felt overlooked in his relationships. No matter how hard he loved, he ended up abandoned or betrayed. He started to believe love wasn't for him, that he was cursed. But in deep meditation, something came to him, a memory, a moment from his childhood when he watched his father walk away after a fight with his mother. He remembered the fear, the helplessness, and a decision. If I love too much, I'll be left. That single emotional seed, planted in the soil of trauma, grew for decades. And every relationship he entered, he watered that seed, until he finally realized he wasn't cursed. He was unconsciously causing the very thing he feared. That's the power and the burden of cause and effect. We co-create outcomes without realizing it. But here's the liberating part. If you caused it unconsciously, you can change it consciously. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what am I sending out into the field of reality? That's when transformation begins. And no, it's not about blame. It's about ownership. Because once you see the pattern, you can change the input. You can stop planting thorns and start planting something else. Intention, presence, clarity. The pain you've carried? It had a message. Not to crush you, but to wake you up. And if you're still here, still listening, maybe you're ready to hear it. This is where the Hermetic path begins, not with power or magic, but with honesty. With looking your pain in the eye and saying, you're not here to destroy me. You're here to show me what I need to heal. And that's not just courage. That's wisdom. Imagine for a moment that your entire life is a dream. Not in the metaphorical sense, but literally. That every face you see, every event you experience, every twist in your story is part of a dream, generated from your own mind. Sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you, the Hermetic teachings begin here. All is mind. The universe is mental. The Kybalion principle number 1. Mentalism. This one sentence, simple as it sounds, has the power to reframe your entire existence. Because if everything is mind, then you're not just in the universe. You are in the mind of the universe itself, a thought within a grand cosmic imagination. And more than that, your thoughts aren't passive. They're creative tools. They are the brush painting your reality. This is where things get exciting. Have you ever had a day where everything just flowed? You woke up feeling clear. You made a bold decision. You bumped into the right people. The timing felt magical. And then another day, you woke up anxious and everything went wrong. Traffic, miscommunications, self-doubt, emotional friction. We often dismiss those moments as mood swings or luck. But Hermeticism says that's the echo of your inner state. Your mind is not observing the world, it's shaping it. The great mystery traditions understood this long before psychology or neuroscience. That belief isn't just internal, it ripples outward. Your perception bends reality. And science is finally catching up. You've probably heard of the observer effect in quantum physics. The strange fact that subatomic particles behave differently when observed. Just the act of attention changes the outcome. Now apply that to your life. What if your attention, your beliefs, your focus, your emotions are constantly collapsing reality into form? Suddenly, you're not just a character in a story. You're the author. And that realization? It should feel like a sunrise. Because it means you're never as stuck as you thought. It means the door was never locked. It just opened from the inside. But here's the twist. This also means you have to take responsibility for what you create. You can't just wish for joy while harboring bitterness. You can't manifest peace while rehearsing fear. Your inner frequency is the blueprint. And life? Life is the mirror. But don't let that overwhelm you, because this is where the joy comes in. You don't need to change the whole world. You just need to change how you see. And when you shift from victim to creator, from passive to intentional, from reaction to vision, that's when reality starts playing with you, not against you. Let me give you an example. A woman I once met told me her life had always been a cycle of burnout. She thought she was just bad at balance, until she began journaling her internal dialogue. She discovered that every time things were going well, a voice inside her whispered, "Don't get too comfortable. It won't last." That thought, running like background software, was sabotaging her joy. She didn't need to work harder. She needed to change the program. She replaced the whisper with a new mantra: "I am safe to rest in the good." She repeated it every morning. She breathed it in. Within weeks, her work rhythm changed. She stopped sabotaging calm, and life adjusted accordingly. Because when your mind changes, your world does too. This is what Hermeticism teaches. You're not here to fight reality. You're here to understand the code and rewrite it from the source, your own consciousness. Mentalism is not just philosophy. It's a tool, a compass, a master key. And once it's in your hand, the door never quite closes again. Have you ever felt like your life is one big paradox? You're doing the inner work. You're visualizing. You're healing. And then, out of nowhere, everything falls apart. You lose motivation. Your clarity vanishes. Doors that were opening suddenly slam shut. You think, did I mess something up? Did I go backward? But here's a secret the Hermetic teachings reveal, something that changes everything. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. The Kybalion, principle number 5, rhythm. The universe breathes. It pulses, expands and contracts, moves in perfect waves. From the tides of the ocean, to the beats of your heart, to the rise and fall of civilizations. Everything is rhythm. So when your life feels like it's moving in cycles, when it speeds up, slows down, when you spiral back into old emotions, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're alive. You're in sync with the mechanics of the universe itself. And once you understand that rhythm is not punishment but pattern, you stop panicking during the lows. Let's zoom out. Look at nature. The moon isn't always full. The tree doesn't bloom all year. The eagle doesn't always soar. Sometimes it glides, still and silent, letting the current carry it. And yet we expect ourselves to be on all the time. To be productive, joyful, high vibrational, 24/7. But that mindset ignores the wisdom of the cosmos. The Hermetic law of rhythm tells us, what goes up will come down and rise again. So your task isn't to fight the ebb. It's to honor it. To know when to lean in and when to lean back. And this shift in perspective changes everything. Because now, your low moments aren't signs of regression. They're pauses of integration. They're the universe pulling you inward, preparing you for your next rise. Let me give you an example. There's a woman who had just launched her dream business after years of hesitation. At first, it took off. She was filled with energy. Clients flowed in. She felt unstoppable. Then, seemingly overnight, it all slowed. Inquiries dried up. Her motivation tanked. She started to spiral. She thought, I lost it. I don't deserve this. But then someone asked her, what if this is just your winter? Not a failure, but a natural cycle. She paused. She rested. She journaled. She cried. She spent a few weeks in reflection. No pressure, just presence. And guess what? When she returned, the energy surged back, but deeper this time. Wiser. More sustainable. Her winter had prepared the soil for a spring she couldn't have rushed. This is the wisdom of rhythm. And here's the deeper key. Plato once said, the soul evolves in spirals. That means yes, you will revisit old emotions, old wounds, old patterns, but you're doing it from a higher level each time, like climbing a spiral staircase. From the ground floor, You see the same window again and again. But from each higher step, the view changes. You're not stuck. You're ascending. So next time you feel low, don't collapse. Don't tell yourself the story of failure. Tell yourself the truth. I am in my season. I am in my rhythm. I am spiraling upward. That perspective alone can alchemize the valley into a place of rest, learning, and quiet power. Rhythm doesn't just describe nature. It describes you, your emotions, your creativity, your love, your breakthroughs, your breakdowns. Everything flows. And once you stop fighting the current, once you learn to surf it, you stop drowning in resistance and start riding waves of divine timing. And that's when life starts to feel like music instead of noise. Just take a breath. Think back to who you were 5 years ago. The things you believed, the dreams you chased, the mistakes you made, the versions of yourself that now feel like distant echoes. Do you ever look back and cringe? Feel that sting of regret? The "if only I had known," or "I should have seen it coming"? We all do. And yet, Hermeticism teaches that even this has meaning. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. The Kybalion, principle number 6, cause and effect. In simpler terms, you did what you could with what you knew at the time. And because of that, you grew. You see, regret is just love for a version of yourself who didn't have all the pieces yet. And when you stop fighting those old versions, when you thank them, you begin to see how every wrong turn was actually a sacred detour. Let's reframe this. What if all your past confusion, all the heartbreaks and dead ends weren't mistakes, but stepping stones? What if the failed relationship wasn't a loss, but the friction that woke you up? What if that job you hated wasn't wasted time, but the pressure that cracked open your desire for more? In Hermetic terms, you were planting causes, even when you didn't realize it. And those causes became the effect, that is you. Let me tell you a story. A man once dreamed of becoming a world-traveling artist. He gave it everything, moved cities, worked night jobs, burned with passion. But it didn't work out. Eventually, he returned home, broke, disappointed, defeated. He fell into depression. He felt like he'd failed his purpose. Years passed. The dream faded. Until one day, while volunteering at a local school, he painted a mural with the kids. It was simple. But when he saw their faces light up, something clicked. He realized, maybe I wasn't meant to paint for galleries. Maybe I was meant to paint for hearts. That one project led to another. Soon, he was painting joy into forgotten neighborhoods. He wasn't the artist he imagined. He was something deeper, something true. Looking back, he didn't regret the detour anymore. It taught him what success really meant. This is what happens when you view your life through the Hermetic lens. You begin to see that every version of you served a purpose. Even the angry you, even the anxious you, even the one who stayed too long in the wrong place. Those parts of you weren't broken. They were building something. And now you're here, with more wisdom, more presence, more you. That's worth celebrating. So if there's a part of you that still feels ashamed of your past, hold it, thank it. You got me this far. And I love you for it. Because real alchemy isn't just about turning lead into gold. It's about turning shame into pride, turning guilt into grace, turning regret into respect. And when you do that, you don't just change how you see your past. You rewrite your present. You stop operating from fear of messing up again. You start moving with quiet confidence, knowing that even if you fall, you'll rise with more insight than before. You begin to trust your own path, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. And here's the Hermetic truth. You are always the cause of your next effect. So what will you choose now? The version of you from 5 years ago couldn't imagine this moment. And the version of you 5 years from now? They'll thank you for what you're planting today. So far, you've journeyed through powerful realizations. That your thoughts shape your world. That every moment, up or down, is part of a cosmic rhythm. That even your regrets were sacred. And now, something stirs. A quiet voice rising. I see it. But what do I do now? That question isn't just curiosity. It's a signal. The soul knocking from the inside, saying, it's time. And here's what Hermeticism teaches. He who understands the law and operates it is on the path of the masters. The Kybalion. You've always been part of the system. Even when you didn't know it. You were thinking, feeling, vibrating, creating. But now you're no longer unconscious. You're awake. And the moment you know, the rules change. Responsibility replaces denial. Choice replaces fate. And yes, that's terrifying. Because moving forward means leaving something behind. Comfort, safety, familiar roles, old dreams that no longer fit. It means stepping out of the story that said, "This is who I am," and rewriting it. Let me be real with you. Transformation is not comfortable. It's sacred discomfort. To stretches, burns, cracks. But only because it's breaking the shell of who you were. So who you really are can breathe. Let me give you an example. There was a man, mid-30s, successful by most standards. High-paying job. Apartment with a view. But inside he felt dead. Numb. He stumbled on the Kybalion one sleepless night. At first, it felt abstract, just words. But one line grabbed him. All is vibration. You attract what you are. He sat with it, reread it, and it hit him. I've spent years vibrating stress, fear, proving myself, and life kept sending me more of it. That night, he made a pact with himself. One vibration shift at a time. I won't wait for perfect clarity, I'll move with the next best frequency. He started small, meditated 5 minutes, turned off the news, took breaks to sit in the sun, spoke more kindly to himself. Nothing changed outside at first, but inside, he softened, he aligned. 6 months later, he quit the job. Not in rebellion, but with peace. He retrained, became a breathwork coach. Now he travels, teaches, wakes up with a sense of meaning. He didn't leap blindly. He tuned his frequency, step by step. And the universe responded. Because that's the secret. You don't chase the life you want, you become the vibration of it. This is what the law of vibration teaches. Everything is in motion. You don't need to force change, you need to tune into it. Change your frequency, and your reality reorganizes around it. And yes, it may scare you. You may feel that flutter in your stomach, that ache in your chest, that old voice saying, "You're not ready. Stay where it's safe." But that's not fear talking. That's the threshold. Because when you're on the edge of alignment, the old self clings. It whispers doubt not because you're wrong, but because it knows you're right. And here's where the joy lives. Not in never being afraid, but in dancing with fear and moving anyway. Your soul doesn't want guarantees. It wants expansion. It wants to feel alive again. So here's your invitation. Choose one thing right now that raises your vibration. Not a life overhaul. Just a spark. A new morning ritual. A creative project. A boundary. No, that makes space for your yes. Every law we've discussed, mentalism, rhythm, cause and effect, vibration, they're already acting in your life. But now, you act with them. Not passively, not someday. Because the Hermetic path isn't theory. It's activation. So don't wait for the perfect moment. This is the moment. Look at yourself. No, really, pause and feel it. You're not the same person who hit play on this video. You've listened, reflected. You've faced truths most people avoid their whole lives. And maybe you're trembling a little, not from fear, but from truth shaking loose the dust of your old identity. Let's name it. This is what awakening feels like. A quiet, electric joy. The pride of remembering who you are, mixed with the fear of what that means going forward. Because once you see, you can't unsee. And that's the real power of Hermetic wisdom. It doesn't hand you rules, it hands you a mirror. And what do you see in that mirror now? A mind that shapes reality. A heart that pulses in rhythm with the cosmos. A soul that's always known. This isn't theory anymore. It's embodiment. The Kybalion says, "The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding." And right now, those ears are yours. You've heard something ancient. Not just in the words, but in the silence between them. In the fire it lit behind your ribs. In the choices you've already started imagining. Maybe you haven't moved outwardly yet. But inwardly, you're miles from where you began. And that deserves celebration. Let me show you how far you've come. You used to ask, why is life so unfair? Now you ask, what pattern am I creating unconsciously, and how can I shift it? You used to beg for signs. Now you see synchronicities not as magic, but as messages from your own vibration reflected back. You used to feel powerless. Now you understand, you're not just inside the universe. The universe is inside you. That's not a metaphor. It's mentalism, the first Hermetic law, and you've already begun living it. And sure, there's fear. Change is scary. Awakening feels like stepping onto unfamiliar ground with no map. But the old path? You already know where it leads. Back to numbness. Back to trying to fit yourself into shapes that suffocate you. So of course there's fear. But something else is louder now. Call it intuition. Call it knowing. Call it the flame of Hermes passed from soul to soul for centuries. You felt it, and now it burns in you. And here's the truth that changes everything. You're no longer a seeker. You're an initiate. Not because you have all the answers, but because you asked the right questions and listened. Let me tell you something most never realize. There's no final destination. No single purpose you must figure out to win life. Purpose isn't a place. It's a presence. It's how you show up to your own unfolding. How you throw new balls of light, as we said earlier, and trust that even the ones you miss shape you. That trust? That's Hermetic mastery. It's what turns pain into alchemy, patterns into power, fear into motion. And you've already started doing that. You chose to be here, to stay present, to remember. So when fear creeps back in, and it will, don't fight it. Say, yes, I see you, but I've seen something greater now. And keep walking, because you no longer walk as the lost one searching for meaning. You walk as the flame bearer. You are now the lighthouse. And someone, somewhere, will see your light and remember their own. You've seen the mirror. You've heard the call. You've remembered the flame that's always been there inside you. So now the question is simple, but profound. Will you stay awake? Because here's the thing. Awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a decision you make every single day. To observe, to align, to vibrate with intention. The Hermetic path doesn't hand you a destination. It offers a compass, a way to navigate your ever-evolving path. And now, that compass is in your hands. But remember this, the law is already in motion. Whether you choose to apply it or not, it's shaping your reality right now. Just like gravity doesn't need your permission, mentalism, vibration, cause and effect, they're already working. The only difference? Before, you were drifting. Now you can steer. And that's not just power. That's responsibility. Because once you know, you can no longer pretend you don't. You can't go back to blaming everything on bad luck, or the system, or the universe being against you. Not when you've just learned that the universe is you. You are both the artist and the brush, the code and the coder, the seeker and the source. So don't just watch this and nod. Don't let this become another moment of almost awakening. Whatever that means for you, big or small, shift your morning routine. Say no to that thing you've been tolerating. Start writing again. Say the truth you've been holding. Meditate tonight, not tomorrow. Tonight. Do one thing differently. And if this message has moved something in you, let me ask you for something simple, but sacred. Tap the like button intentionally. Not for algorithm games. Not for vanity. But as a symbol. A digital seal of Hermes. Let's say, I heard the call. I remember. I'm ready. Comment, 7 laws. It's not just a phrase. It's an energetic echo. Each comment you leave becomes a ripple in the quantum field. A frequency amplified through this shared space. You're not alone. Look around. Others like you, quiet seekers, hidden initiates, are also waking up. And we are not meant to awaken alone. This is not the age of the isolated monk. It's the age of collective remembering. So let's remember together. Subscribe to this space. Not because I want a number to go up, but because this isn't the end. The Hermetic journey unfolds layer by layer. What we've done today is just the beginning. There's more to discover, more to embody, more to live. So subscribe to stay on the path, not just with me, but with others who've also answered the call. Because the next insight, the next teaching, the next fire, it will arrive exactly when you're ready. And you'll know it. The universe will whisper. The law will align. And you'll take another step into who you've always been. Stat Rosa Pristina Nomine. The rose of the past still blooms in name. See you soon.